I love that when Dave decided to sit down and write a book, he wrote stories. It's not, here's my existential life experience. It's some parts of that, but he's just, it feels like you're sitting at a bar with him and he's just telling you one great story after another. And then he ties them off with something meaningful to sort of move the story forward. Right. And I think about like the best emails I read, there's some element of that in them. They reveal a part of ourselves that is easy to connect to. And we have to make sure that we're not trying to be for everybody. We got to remember the number one rule of direct response marketing for ourselves as much as we do for our clients. If you're trying to be for everybody, you're going to be for nobody, or you're going to be you see these people all the time on their Instagram videos, and they don't know how to make this face and look really exuberant all the time. And you're just going, what are you doing? You seem goofy. You don't seem sincere. It's hard to connect with that because it's forced, because they're trying to be for everyone. This is what I mean about describing yourself in a nutshell through a story. So this is the introduction. So he says, years ago, I was asked to perform, and beware of adult language on your way. Years ago, I was asked to perform at the 12-12-12 Hurricane Sandy Relief Concert in New York City, held at Madison Square Garden. It featured the Mount Rushmore of rock and roll lineups: McCartney, the Rolling Stones, The Who, Roger Waters, and countless other household names. At one point, I was approached by a promoter who asked if I would join some of these most iconic artists in the green room to take photos with some fans who had donated large sums of money to the cause. Honored to be involved, I happily obliged and made my way through the maze of backstage corridors, imagining a room full of rock and roll history, all standing in an elementary school photo formation, nothing but leather jackets and British accents. As I entered, I was surprised to find only two of the performers standing at opposite ends of the space. One had the shiny appearance of a brand new luxury car, perfectly dyed hair, spray tan, and a recently refurbished smile that had the look of a fresh box of chiclets. An obvious attempt at fending off the aging process, which ultimately had the adverse effect, giving the appearance of an old wall with too many layers of paint. The other had the appearance of a vintage, burned out hot rod, wiry gray hair, deep lines carved into a scowl, teeth that could have belonged to George Washington, and a black t-shirt that hugged a barrel-chested frame so tightly, you immediately knew that this was someone who did not give one flying fuck. Epiphany may seem cliche, but in a flash, I saw my future. I decided right then and there that I would become the latter, that I would celebrate the ensuing years by embracing the toll they take on me, that I would aspire to become the rusted out hot rod, no matter how many jump starts I might require along the way. Not everything needs a shine, after all. If you leave a Pelham Blue Gibson Trini Lopez guitar in the case for 50 years, it will look like it was just delivered from the factory. But if you take it in your hands, show it to the sun, let it breathe, sweat on it, and fucking play it, over time, the finish will turn a unique shade, and each instrument ages entirely differently. To me, that is beauty, not the gleam of prefabricated perfection, but the road-worn beauty of individuality, time, and wisdom. Boom, right? And so what he did there was tell an interesting story about his life, where you can imagine what that moment was like. You wonder who the heck were these two other guys. I'm like wanting to search for photos now to find out who they were. But more importantly, he tells you what he's for and what he's against. And he brought you into the moment that he decided that that's who he was and that's what he was bent on, and it's a couple hundred words of writing. And so my point is not that you have to go out and become this guru person and declare your beliefs and do all these things. It just means that when given the opportunity, or when you see a point, and even if you need to force it in a little to some of your authority content, like articles, put yourself in there. Nobody needs another practitioner. The robots are coming for the easiest kind of work, and people want to hire you because there's something you told them that they connected to, and that's who they want to spend time developing stuff with.